Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Elisa Ewan, and I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni Relations at Teachers College. And I'd like to thank everyone again for joining us for today's Alumni Career Development webinar series featuring alumna Dawnn Karen. I know many of us are staying at home during these difficult times, but the Alumni Relations team is so happy we can come together to learn and interact digitally. The webinar series covers a range of career topics and includes speakers from a variety of backgrounds. The series is co-sponsored by the TC Office of Career Education and Professional Development and the Office of Alumni Relations. Videos of past webinars are available on our website at www.tc.edu/alumni/career-webinars. Today, Dawnn Karen presents How to Pick the Perfect Interview Outfit, a Modern Approach. Fashion psychologist Dawnn Karen, dubbed by the New York Times as the Dress Doctor, holds a Master of Arts degree in counseling psychology and is also a candidate for a Master's in Education, both from TC. Upon graduation with her MA in 2012, Dawnn continued where Harvard's Henry James left off to pioneer the fashion psychology field. She has since been the pioneering mind behind this global field, paving the way forward in fashion academia by speaking for TEDx, the United Nations, and the Kyiv Security Forum. She's also been the youngest professors and the first Black woman psychology professors in the Social Sciences Department at the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. She's also founded the Online Fashion Psychology Institute. She's contributed to major networks in more than 38 countries. Her most recent appearances and interviews include Good Morning America, Bloomberg, The Hill, Cosmopolitan UK, Vanity Fair Italia, Teen Vogue, and more. Her book, Dress Your Best Life, How to Use Fashion Psychology to Take Your Look and Your Life to the Next Level, will be released worldwide in 4 languages, Russian, Czech, Spanish, and English, next week on April 14th, 2020. Ultimately, she has made a history as a pioneer of fashion psychology field and hopes to leave you inspired. This presentation will have some Q&A at the end, so if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the questions pane. Also, if you have any issues with the audio, please feel free to chat me directly in the chat box. And without any further ado, here's Dawnn.
Hi everyone, good afternoon, Dawnn Karen here. So I will begin the presentation on how to pick the perfect interview outfit, a modern approach. I will give a disclaimer in saying that I wanted to give a novel approach considering the times that we are in. As a millennial, I do believe some of the interview rules for attire can be a bit antiquated or could have been a bit antiquated. So here's an updated version. All right, so let's begin. So the fashion psychology field, it's something that I have trademarked in 2012 after graduating from TC. And when I was studying at TC, I stumbled upon a Harvard lecturer, and he was the first to illuminate this notion of fashion psychology. So similar to Sigmund Freud is the father of, or one of the fathers of psychology. We all know that from Sigmund Freud's theories, people came up with their own theories. They either debunked his theories or expanded upon his theories. So in terms of the psychology of style or fashion, William James was that. And so I noticed that unlike Sigmund Freud, no one really came after William James to coin a field or a branch of psychology. Perhaps people were talking about the subject, but they didn't make it into an academic field. So the academic field, the basis has to do with what William James pioneered initially, or what he illuminated initially. So essentially, I am continuing where he left off. He talked about the sartorial self. James's philosophy of dress attributes clothing to be an essential part of the material, spiritual, and social selves. They serve as a microcosm. Everything man puts on his body, every element becomes a part of him, almost as if the look created by the attire melds into the essence of the person. So this notion has to do with once you place a particular color or a particular fabric on the body, it activates certain moods. And so most of the time we are on autopilot, and perhaps maybe we have to wear a uniform, and we're not really aware of how deep the attire that we place on our body could affect our day to day. Sigmund Freud, which I also mentioned, Sigmund Freud. So again, just talking about William James, Sigmund Freud here, his aspect of viewing personality with a focus on the unconscious and the importance of childhood experience. So again, the foundation of the fashion psychology field deals with when you place the clothing on the body and the activation that occurs within the person. Now, I would add another layer to that. The other layer would have to do with what happened to you in your childhood. Perhaps you had an experience in a particular outfit that triggered you to have an affinity for leopard. If anyone has heard of the new show, Tiger King on Netflix, there are peculiar characters on this show, and they have an affinity for leopard. So for those of you who have a penchant for a particular print or fabric, it may have started, more than likely, 9 times out of 10, it started in your childhood, and you had either you had a significant experience. It could be either good or bad, something where that particular outfit found to be very memorable. All right. So again, just to reemphasize, William James was about what the clothing activated when you placed it on. And then Sigmund Freud is about our childhood experiences and how the clothing makes you feel from there. Just to continue Freud further, it's a psychodynamic perspective. So again, looking at your childhood, but your personality as far as your thoughts and actions, your unconscious motives. So why do you do the things you do? The techniques used in treating psychological disorders by seeking to expose and interpret unconscious tensions. So in this sense, again, just getting to what's the science behind clothing? Why do you have a particular affinity for a particular fabric? Did something catastrophic happen to you? So if we bring it to current times, the Me Too movement, did women, if a woman wore a particular garment, does she feel that she'll be accosted more, by the opposite sex and feel violated? And, what can she wear to feel empowered? Is that a blazer? Is that a cape? Is it the color white? So things of this nature. Again, we're talking about activation of clothing and their impacts and what they indicate about the personality of the individual. So the unconscious, according to Freud, the unconscious is a reservoir of mostly unacceptable thoughts, wishes, feelings, and memories. According to contemporary psychologists, information processing of which we are unaware. So again, someone may actually have gone through an experience and they found themselves covering up their bodies because they maybe experience a violation. So when I'm working with clients and even students, I'm looking to draw a type of synthesis between, what they're telling me with their experiences, their stories, how they're feeling. Perhaps they're going through something at that moment, and what they're wearing. So how that is displayed through their dress. All right, so again, the psychodynamic perspective. Continued personalities arise from conflict between impulse and restraint. So again, what are you trying to hide? Are you trying to cover up something, conceal something? Are you trying to express something as well? So it could be something that you're that's leading to this obscurity, or something that you're just trying again to express. With socialization, urges are internalized through social restraints, which aid in the resolution of basic conflict. So for those of you who you have to wear a uniform every day, right? This is your social restraint. You're not able to fully express yourself. And perhaps maybe you don't even feel like you're covering up anything. You're just, again, you're an autopilot. So you may not be aware of how you're feeling as it relates to your clothes, and how this may affect you. We have all experienced, I would say myself included, clients, students, we've all experienced times where we put on an outfit and we're like, I don't want to wear this. But hey, you got to do what you got to do, and you have to wear it. And so there's some type of conflict that arises when you're in that outfit that you're not, that you don't want to wear, right? You don't have an affinity for that particular outfit in the moment. So there's not an alignment between the attire and the attitude. So this is where this basic conflict arises. People seek to express impulses in ways that bring satisfaction without guilt or punishment. Just to get into a little bit about myself, again, as you know, I'm a fashion psychologist. I'm the first ever fashion psychologist. While attending TC, I was studying Freud during the day and into fashion at night. So my brain never turned off from, Freud, and I was immersed in fashion. And I wondered, is there something more to clothes? I would see my model friends, and we would be backstage getting glammed up, hair and makeup, and they could have gone, we were talking, and they could have gone through, they could have had a terrible day that day, but, they have to put on these clothes and walk down the runway and like sell it. And so my thing was like, okay, if you've gone through something that day that was catastrophic, or just something that impacted you, the notion of putting on clothing and then bringing about a new emotion, what is that about? And I was like, that has to be some type of psychology or some type of science, and I would see, my model friends, model after model, wear outfit after outfit. And as they wore each outfit, there was an activation of their emotions. So my mind was thinking like, what's going on here? And then I noticed personally within myself, when I would wear either a bikini or a long gown, that my demeanor, my entire attitude changed. And so with that being said, I said, all right, there has to be something behind, why we wear what we wear, and what is that called. And and this is public knowledge, so I don't mind sharing, but I actually experienced a sexual assault while I was attending TC. And you would probably be wondering like, wow, that's just so terrible. But at this point, fast forward, it's like 10 years later, 9 years later, I've definitely healed. But while I was studying psychology, I was also, again, working in fashion. I also moonlighted at the Rape Crisis Center on Barnard's campus across from TC. And I wasn't in the loquacious mood to just gab about, what had just happened. I noticed that I felt very reclusive as far as, again, talking. But when it came to dressing, I was very expressive. So if you can imagine being on TC's campus and you see some girl walking with big feather earrings and her heels are click-clacking down the hall, and I'm in like a Audrey Hepburn-ish, like with white gloves on, like I was in gowns in class. And if you know anything about TC, it's no one's like really dressing up for class. And, so I was utilizing clothing to heal myself. And from there, I began to, again, just draw this association between attire and attitude. And through this experience, the fashion psychology field was born. I had also approached Dr. Sari Locker, who's also a professor at TC, and she was my former professor. And I told her, I'm interested in this association. And she had put it forth to me that, what about, an inner stylist? She had worked in the media. She's a New York Times bestselling author, and her realm was mostly sex psychology, adolescent psychology, and so she was into this interdisciplinary movement. And so she put this forth on, it sounds like you're talking about inner styling, and they don't really have that. And so I mulled it over, I began ruminating, and had an epiphany, eureka, what about fashion psychology? And then from there, I'm grateful for that moment, to bring that to her and share, what I was thinking, because it sparked, again, the fashion psychology field. I am the youngest and the first Black female psychology professor at the Fashion Institute of Technology. I took my talents, my idea to FIT. I felt like that was the best place, being the #1 fashion school in the world. And they were already teaching color psychology, so I actually substituted for a few classes, and I began teaching fashion psychology there by way of color psychology. The students really took a liking to it, and again, I just continued working in the fashion industry, working with clients, high profile clients. So again, think your judges, magazine editors, musicians, and then everyday people began approaching me later on as the field began to develop. Everyday people meaning new mothers, right? New mothers who are transitioning from, being not worrying about nothing except themselves and their looks and their heels to, hey, I'm worried about this life, and now I'm in my mom jeans and I barely like even wear heels anymore. So they also became my clients, as well as, young persons who in New York City, they would be very flamboyant. They're part of the LGBTQ IA plus community, and they would be flamboyant, but they hadn't come out yet to their family. And so when they would when they were in New York, they were very flamboyant in their attire, wearing bright colors, just very expressive and vibrant. And then they would go home and be very conservative around their parents. So I had these particular persons, and how do you blend the two? Again, this microcosm, how do you blend the two persons? Am I not being true to myself? So I've had everyday clients to bring about the field, to bring it to life, and then from there I went from teaching students, or having clients teaching students at FIT, to people asking me, hey, can I be a fashion psychologist? And as you know, in the digital world, we are much closer. So my first students that wanted to become a fashion psychologist were in Australia. They have doctorate degrees, doctor and master's degrees in psychology, and I taught them, the crux of my field. And then it went from Australia to Lebanon, Switzerland, Russia, Louisiana, all over. So it's pretty cool, again, to have the Fashion Psychology Institute. Let's get into what to wear for an interview. That is what this presentation is all about. It feels weird to talk about myself. The fashion psychology field, it's the study and treatment of how color, image, style, beauty, and shape affects human behavior while addressing cultural norms and cultural sensitivities. So again, I explained that, due to the digital world, we're much closer. So one must be aware of the cultural dynamics that are into play, right? That are in play here. And how, that affects what we wear. So if someone is in the Middle East and they wear Muslim attire, or someone's a part of the LGBTQIA community and they're a bit flamboyant in dress. Someone's a part of the Jewish community and they're conservative. So again, there are all these different cultures, and when in each culture there's a corresponding code of dress. And so understanding how these the color, the image, the style, the beauty, the shape, how it all interacts is what the fashion psychology field is all about. So what do your clothes say about your psyche? What do your clothes say about your psyche? That is what we're always asking. So when you're putting together your look, and so as far as your interview is concerned, that is the beginning question, and that's the end question. So that is what I want you to keep repeating in your mind. What does your clothes say about your psyche? What does your clothes say about your psyche? What am I saying? What am I expressing here? All right, so keep this is very pertinent. Keep this question close by. What does your clothes say about your psyche? So, all right, do your homework. Do your homework. So when you're preparing for an interview, right? Preparing for an interview, and you're trying to decide what to wear. It's like, do you visit the company's website, and do you be a carbon copy of the persons that they're showing on the website? I would say yes and no, right? So you want to be yourself, but you also want to glean, like, what is the style of the company? So you go on that website and you kind of look like, all right, maybe you see people in all black, and the women mostly wear skirts, or the women mostly wear pants, trousers. So you kind of want to know, what is the company's style? And I know it seems very weird, seems very weird, very trivial to think about, but in this digital age, right, where we are, we live on the internet, you kind of want to know what image or what brand the company is putting forth, so you can sort of, when you go to that interview, you can look like, oh, they look like they work here. They look like they work here. So you want to do your homework as far as looking at the website, looking at how the company brands themselves, and through their attire. And so you don't want to just show up in a standard look, right? So what's the quintessential? I'm wearing a suit jacket, a tie, and some trousers, right? You could do that. I'm not saying not to do that. You could do that, but I'm trying to get you to utilize fashion psychology and insert a bit of your personality into your attire. So I do believe that when you have that standard look, that tends to be antiquated, I feel, just my opinion, you kind of appear to be unqualified, like you don't blend in with the image, right? So the image or the style or the brand of the company. So you kind of want to, again, just take a gander at the company's website, so you're aware of the style, the dress code of the company, and sort of mimic that, so you can appear to be qualified by blending in, right? You look like you work there. So do your homework. Next, fashion cultural norms. Don't feel pressured to look older. I think millennials, Gen Z, and I think after that is Alpha, but millennials and Gen Z, this is for you guys, and I would say, for other older generations, I could say this as well. You don't have to, quote unquote, dress your age. You can be youthful. Insert some youthfulness. Youthfulness brings about vitality, right? It activates this vitality and gives the perception that you are young, you're youthful, you're energetic, you're good to go. So dress one level above. dress one level above. So you want to kind of, you would like to put forth that you are qualified. And so if you can, again, just dress above what that said role that you're applying for. It'll make you just appear to be more competent. So styling from the inside out by bridging the gap between perception and reality. So again, it's about this perception. So when you can dress one level above, that's okay, but you don't want to try too hard. It looks like you're trying too hard, and then you can come off as being intimidated or being intimidating. I'm sorry, being intimidating. So for just dress very youthful, and that could mean you're not wearing this, you're not going all out and trying too hard. Maybe you're just wearing a blouse and you're just being very simple in your attire. So again, this notion of don't feel pressure to look older is all about trying too hard. You don't want to try that hard. You want to be confident and put forth a simple look so that you don't come off as intimidating. Do choose a focal accessory. Do choose a focal accessory. So I bet you're wondering, what is a focal accessory? So in the fashion psychology field, the focal accessory is essentially an item that holds psychological value of the past, the present, and the future. So I'm going to repeat that. A focal accessory is an item that holds psychological value of the past, present, and future. Okay, that sounds a bit wordy, and so let me break it down in layman's terms. So essentially, we all have, perhaps you have an heirloom that's been passed down from generation to generation, or we all have some type of lucky something that we wear that's just, that brought me luck. That's my good luck charm. So this could be a rabbit's foot, this could be a ring, this could be a bracelet, something that you never take off. So what I find with my clients and students, they have at least one accessory that they never take off. I mean, sometimes my students even say like, hey, I showered with that. So I had a student who had like a bracelet, and it was given to him by his grandfather, and his grandfather died, and I believe it had some type of cultural significance, as he was from Asia, so it had some type of cultural significance. I think it was more so spiritual, and he even bathed, like even showered with this bracelet on. So this focal accessory is something that you never take off. Now I'm not saying it's something that you always shower in, but when you take it off, you actually put it back on. And when you are not wearing this item, you feel very anxious, you feel naked, if naked was a feeling, right? So you feel like something's missing, like, okay, so it brings about this nervous, scattered energy. I find that with my clients and my students, when they don't wear that particular focal accessory, they're not focused. They're thinking about it all day. So, and if they got all the way to school or got all the way to work and they didn't have that focal accessory on, they're not able to inherently focus or truly focus on the work at hand. So a focal accessory for your interview is that's something that brings about luck to you, something that is really significant, that you feel that makes you confident. I've even said, I was even told by my students, believe it or not, that their iPhone was their focal accessory. Like, so I wouldn't even consider a phone. I was more so thinking like the jewelry, some type of accessory. But even your phone could be a focal accessory. So avoid wearing anything distracting. So you don't want to. Okay, of course you're gonna have your phone, as one of my students stated, but you want to wear something very minimal. But you want to bring something to the table, or I'm saying bring something to the table. No, you want to wear something that is reminiscent of you and keep it minimal. So again, you don't want want to overdo it. And again, I'm not putting forth this image of having the standard interview look, you know. You want to have a bit of your personality, and wearing that accessory, whether it's a jewelry item, maybe it's a special tie, it's something that evokes a piece of you. So should you try on the interview, should you try on the interview the day before? So I'm like, don't have a dress rehearsal. Again, this is a millennial, a modern approach. Don't have a dress rehearsal. You know, again, it's all about, I'm telling you not to overdo it. You know, you don't have to try too hard. You have this simple look, incorporate a piece of your personality with the accessory. You know, so again, you know, you don't have to have a dress rehearsal. It's again, it's this antiquated notion. So you essentially, you pick out your outfit, you know what you're going to wear, but I want you to do it from a sense of, all right, I'm wearing this is going to make me feel good. So you're all about aligning the attire and the attitude. So once you know, select an outfit from that basis, you know, aligning your attitude with your attire, you're less likely, I mean, you really don't really need a dress rehearsal. You got it. So this is just about being confident. Again, you could try on your outfit the day before to prevent wardrobe malfunctions, but you really don't have to have a dress rehearsal. You got this. Again, if you're using, you know, if you're using this alignment between the internal and the external, the attitude and the attire, all right, I'm wearing this outfit because this outfit is going to make me feel confident on the day of my interview. Then you got it, you know. So again, just relax, and this is just a way for you to draw or bring forth confidence for your interview. Do wear perfume or cologne. So again, this is a modern approach. They normally tell you not to wear. Dress for Success would normally say, don't wear perfume or cologne. Like, you know, you don't want to offend anyone or insult anyone. So research has shown that the senses. So if the senses are activated, it creates a positive association with that person. So if you spray just a mist, you don't have to overdo it from head to toe, you know, just a little spritz, a little mist of your perfume or your cologne, it makes you memorable. So when that boss or your potential employer, you know, goes to interview you, you know, you have a particular smell, and it's going to activate, you know, whatever they felt during that interview. So yeah, you know, Dawnn Karen, you did good on that interview. I mean, you know, I did great, and it's like, but she also smelled great, you know. So every time they smell that smell, whatever that perfume that you sprayed, you know, I have a Victoria's perfume that's it's out of season, and but I know it's a peculiar. Well, I'm not gonna say peculiar. It's a distinct smell, and when you smell that, you know it's me, you know. So wear that perfume, wear that cologne. That's your signature. But again, don't spray from head to toe, just do a little mist, and that will also leave a lasting remark, you know, with your potential employer. Again, that's all about the positive association. So you don't want to overdo it, you know, but just some little spritz will do. So working from home attire. Initially, I didn't have this in my interview, but now that we're in a pandemic, you know, we need to know what to wear when we are at home. I cannot tell you how many times people have asked me during the pandemic what to wear. So I guess that makes me an essential worker because I'm working during the pandemic. Work from home attire. So what do you wear? You're probably in your PJs all day, every day, and you know you have to do a Zoom meeting. go to webinar meeting. I'm trying to think, what's the other? I can't think of the other. I know there's one on Microsoft, but I can't remember all of them. But you have to do these digital meetings or the teleconferencing. And what do you wear, right? Do you get into like full attire, you know, from head to toe? So these are the type of things that people have asked me. And so what I tell my clients, what I've told students, what I even told the media to help people out is to set boundaries. Set boundaries. It's very easy during this pandemic to feel just, you know, you don't have control. You have anxiety. It's running rampant. You know, I'm trying to think of all the emotions that people feel. I mean, even myself, you know, you don't know what's going on. Every day there's a different, no, not every day, every hour there's a different news outlet talking about the coronavirus and, you know, the lockdown date. When the post-lockdown date, it keeps moving, and so we're never going to get outside. So again, work from home attire. So set boundaries. So this is essential to your psychological survival. When you wake up in the morning, please take off your pajamas, take off your PJs, please, and slip into something, whether it's loungewear, whether it's, I'm trying to think, loungewear, I can't think of any, or you can even dress up, you know, and put on a dress or some slacks or a polo. So set boundaries. Each time you're engaging in a new activity, make sure you put on a different outfit. As you know, well, maybe you don't know, but each role that you play as an employee, as a mother, a wife, a sister, I'm trying to think, a gym member, you know, each person, a member of a gym, each activity that you have has a corresponding uniform. So I want you to get into that uniform even when you're at home so that you can break up this monotony. And, you know, I tell people, if you're in your pajamas more than 3 days, and 3 days is pushing it. If you're in your pajamas more than 3 days, that may actually lead to or activate depression. Right? So I'm telling clients and students and people in the media, get up out your PJs, don't stay in them for far too long, set the boundaries by wearing a corresponding outfit with that activity. Decision fatigue. So, you know, you having like a standard like look when you're setting these boundaries, right? It could actually lessen, you know, this decision fatigue. So I'm not telling you to wear, you know, millions of outfits throughout the whole week, but at least have 3 outfits. Like, all right, this is my PJs. This is the look that I'm going for when I'm just lounging around, and when I'm have to appear on the camera to do a Zoom meeting, I'm going to wear a button-up shirt, you know, or a polo. So it's very important to have at least 3 outfits, I would say. Business on top, pajamas underneath. I thought this was really catchy. So there has been an influx of people buying business tops, you know, more tops than bottoms. Walmart actually released some numbers, and their numbers literally shows that, you know, people are buying more tops, right? Because you're appearing on camera and it's from the waist up. No one sees the bottom. So is it okay to wear pajamas underneath? Your fashion psychologist says, yes, it's okay, right? So to quell your anxiety, to bring about comfort, that's what the pajamas are about. And then to feel productive, that's what that top is about, whether it's a blouse, a polo, a blazer. So you're activating this sense of productivity as you're working from home, because it's important to feel productive, right? Most of us working from home, we may feel very lethargic, lazy, you know, again, you just don't feel like yourself because you're not in that office, right? So wearing a top that is that boosts productivity is quintessential. Having the pajamas underneath gives you that comfort, so it quells your anxiety and you don't have to feel like, okay, why am I like dressed up? I have heard of people going on dates within their home with their significant others, and they're fully dressed up, gowns, suit and tie, and all. So, hey, that's for a special occasion. You could definitely do that as well. Mood enhancement dress, mood illustration dress. So, this, remember when I told you in the beginning that I use clothes to express myself and to heal myself when I experience um, this sexual assault. Mood enhancement dress. Mood enhancement dress is dressing to optimize your current mood. Mood illustration dress is dressing to perpetuate your current mood. So when you're selecting these clothing items from your closet, from your dressers, you're going to, do I want this to optimize my mood, improve my mood, or do I want this to stabilize my mood? So keep my mood on an even keel. So what that looks like for you is different based off of what you deem as, uplifting and stabilizing. So uplifting could be wearing a particular fabric, wearing a particular color, maybe wearing your favorite color. For me, I have an affinity for leopard. So that's my go-to for mood enhancement dress. Mood illustration dress, well, when I'm in home, you'll usually find me in some type of kimono or something. So that's my way of stabilizing my mood. So when you're working from home, you want to just don't just pick out anything. It's again it's pertinent, to have this alignment between attire and attitude. So you're picking from the notion of, all right, here's my mood. This is the mood that I would like to invoke. And so then you go to your closet and you select the corresponding attire, right? So if you do that, you really are utilizing fashion psychology, and it'll make working from home a lot easier. All right, so now I have an activity portion, a quick activity portion. I'll be asking you a series of questions that have to do with the presentation that I just gave. So I'll let Alyssa take it from there.
I'm utilizing the poll right now. It seems like we've gotten multiple responses, so I'll close it in just 1 second and we'll share the responses. So it looks like 97% said button-up shirt, 7% said t-shirt, 7% said sweater or sweatshirt, and 0 for pajama shirt.
Okay.
For types of bottoms do you wear during an interview? 71% said slacks, 65% said skirt, 10% said jeans, and 3% said sweatpants or leggings. How does your current work from home attire make you feel? 86% said comforted and 14% says anxious.
Okay.
So do you change your attire when you enter a new task from work, exercise, leisure, etc.? 79% said yes and 21% said no. 40% of you said ring, 33% of you said necklace, 13% said watch and or bracelet. So thanks everyone for participating.
All right, guys. From what we can glean here, you all have pretty much a handle on what I am trying to get you to comprehend about the whole notion of fashion psychology and what to wear for a uniform. So again, just utilize that focal accessory. You guys said ring and necklace. And does your current work attire make you feel? How does it make you feel? Some of you said comfort. Some of you said anxious. So again, you want to utilize here the mood illustration or mood enhancement dress here. And then when you enter a new task, so most of you said that you change your outfit. So again, that's just very important. So just think of other tasks that you do that perhaps you didn't have a corresponding uniform and or corresponding outfit, and that will break up the monotony. All right, so that is the activity portion. Just to sort of highlight the most important parts of what to wear for an interview. So you want to incorporate what I'm teaching you, these theories of mood illustration dress, mood enhancement dress, and focal accessory, and the tips that I gave you about the fashion cultural norms to make for to put your best foot forward for an interview. So, dress your best life. As Alyssa pointed out during the introduction, I have a book coming out next week, April 14th, Dress Your Best Life. It is already out in the UK and other parts of the world as of March 26th. So if you have some family members that are overseas, they can actually purchase the copy on the left, Dress Your Best Life, Harness the Power of Clothes to Transform Your Confidence. It sounds a bit esoteric. So my American publisher just has Dress Your Best Life, and the subtitle is different. It's How to Use Fashion Psychology to Take Your Look and Your Life to the Next Level. Same book, just different subtitles and different colors, or different covers and colors. So just be sure to pick up the book. You'll see, I'll actually talk about most of what I discussed in the interview, as well as different case studies and colors and accessories, and so it's very good, and you'll just it's really cool. So it's basically the textbook of the fashion psychology field. So if you could support, that'll be great. And you'll probably see me on some type of media news, some type of news outlet next week, but it'll probably be from home. So yeah, so look out for that as well. To contact me, I am on LinkedIn. I accept all LinkedIn requests, even if I don't know you. So best to find me on LinkedIn. I am on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel that actually talks about the latest video, what to wear during the coronavirus, fashionpsychology.tv. So you can find me there. I'm very accessible, and I do answer my emails. So please contact me, and I look forward to speaking with you. If you have any questions here, now is the time to ask.
Hi, everyone. So we have a couple minutes for questions. So if you have any questions for Dawnn, please feel free to type them in the questions pane. So Dawnn, we have a couple of questions already. The first one is, does it matter as a woman if we wear slacks or a dress for an interview?
Doesn't matter as a woman if you wear slacks or a dress or a skirt. You know what I would say? What emotions does wearing slacks elicit versus wearing the skirt? So I would actually select based off the emotion you want to evoke. So whatever that emotion is, that is the outfit, the emotion that you feel drawn to, and what you want to bring about is that's what you should be wearing. So it could be the slack, or it could be the slacks or the skirt.
Fantastic. The next question is it appropriate to wear red to an interview?
Oh, that's a good question. Now, I would say, again, this is a modern approach. If you looked at that company's website and you can kind of get the branding, and you can kind of get the dress code, the style, if you will, of the website. And if they're not really really incorporating blacks, whites, and grays, and some people have some colors, I would say yes, wear red to an interview. But you have to, when you're wearing red, that it does give off, this powerful persona. So I would tell you to, you don't have to match that power. Let the clothing speak for you. So if you're going to wear that red, you don't have to overdo it and oversell yourself. The red will do the talking. So you almost want to kind of tone down your personality to balance it out, if you will.
Great. The next question is, how can we alter the discourses associated with certain colors or the objects that we adorn ourselves with?
Oh, can you repeat that for me?
No, of course. How can we alter the discourses associated with certain colors or objects that we adorn ourselves with?
Well, it's simply by wearing them. To change that perception is by wearing them. So that's why I'm saying maybe, back in the days or previous times, they would say don't wear certain colors. But in order for us to alter these perceptions, we have to wear them. So you wear that to an interview, and they're like, yeah, that girl wore red, or she wore, some big hoop earrings, and and she was very professional. So you it's almost like you're debunking these stereotypes and these negative associations with these with the colors or the items. So it's important to wear them so that people can see that, you know, there's professionalism when you do wear that color or that item.
Fantastic. So I just want to be mindful of everyone's time, so we'll take one more question. Of course, if we didn't get to your question, please feel free to reach out to Dawn on LinkedIn or any of the contacts that she has on the screen. So the last question, Dawn, is there a difference in dressing for a job interview versus a grad school interview?
Oh, is there a difference between dressing for a job interview and a grad school interview? You know what? I would actually say they're both the same. They're both the same. You could use this modern approach for both. Yeah, you could for the academic institution or you know your place of work. You could actually take this modern approach for fashion psychology, and they can be generalized to both. So.
Great, thank you. So Dawn, I just want to tell you thank you again for taking the time to share your expertise with the TC community. Teachers College will be planning more digital events in the near future, so please stay tuned to emails from TC, Alumni Relations, and our social media channels. You will be receiving a link to this video presentation and the Alumni Relations team's contact information in a follow-up email. The video of this presentation will also be on our website, which is www.tc.edu/alumni/career webinars. We hope you can join us for our next webinar called Supporting Your Students' Transition from High School to College on May 13th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with alumnae Asha Owens and Rebecca Quee. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and we hope you stay safe and healthy.